Aslan is the original highest king of Narnia. He represents the ultimate of all of the creatures and was actually the one responsible for creating the world of Narnia. He's an interesting character because in some ways he's all-powerful and all-knowing, but at his heart he still has a vulnerability.
Thank you.
I think C.S. Lewis used the character of a lion for Aslan because he represents something that's both fearsome and awesome. You're attracted to and at the same time you're afraid of. And that's who he is as this High King. He's somebody that the children immediately warm to, but he's somebody that you know any minute could turn around and just bite your head off.
The first time I met Andrew about the project, the one thing he said to me, which he continues to say today, is that it was incredibly important for him that we not be able to tell the difference between a computer-generated animal and a live-action animal.
Rise.
I think they're going to look at Aslan the lion and go, how did they do that?
This is the stunt Aslan. It needs to be steamed flat just to get the hair laying really nice and give that lion sheen to it.
Aslan is being done, I'd say 99.9% digitally. But Andrew asked us to build 3 versions. We have 3 different Aslans we're going to take a look at.
Yep.
All right. This Aslan is our lying on the table Aslan. Aslan on the stone table. And originally that was going to be digital, but we built this amazing puppet, and I had an amazing Aslan team headed by Jeff Himmel. It's a magnificent piece of work, and Andrew just fell in love with it, and we shot the entire sequence. That's the 0.1% that will be all puppet. So radio-controlled head, and it breathed and did all this stuff. We built a full-size Aslan for stand-in work. The digital guys had the spatial reference and color and all the information they needed to have, and then we would remove that. And then we had a running version that Georgie and Anna rode on a green screen. And originally what they had contracted us to build was basically a blue form. And I went, I don't want to build that. I want to build an Aslan. So we went ahead and we built this hero mechanical Aslan puppet. When the girls were on set, when we were shooting it, I really wanted them not to think it was a puppet. And we left it on, turned on all the time, and it was always breathing and always moving and looking around. And I wanted them to believe that these were guys that really existed in this world, and in hopes that that would help with their performances and just make it all be real and come to life.
Aslan is probably the single most remarkable achievement in CG character animation. Not only for the level of technology that goes into creating the sky, he's got to deliver a wide range of emotions equal to any actor, I believe. And when you see it, you've got to believe it and feel it and not ever think that it's a CG character.
Aslan's been 2 years in the making, and it is a great achievement, there's no doubt.
Aslan is entirely hand animated. Early on, there was discussions about whether we would try and motion capture a lion. In the end, it was determined that to get the performance we needed, we probably wouldn't be able to get those motions out of a lion, even a trained lion.
We work in Voodoo, which is our proprietary animation system, and it allows us to do a lot of stuff like fur, simulation, crowd, regular animation, and lighting.
First, what will happen is we'll get concept art. So Aslan, when we first got him, we built a digital model based off of a maquette that we received.
By focusing on a certain type of lion at a certain age, we were able to kind of dial in the look of him very consistently, so that we always had a reference to kind of go back to and say, well, this is actually how it looks.
One of the challenges with a character like this, especially with any furred character, you want to get the detail of the skin to read through the fur. All this wrinkling here that you see down in the skin how much that translates through the fur once you put that on top of it. Without that, it's really hard for the animators to convey any emotion. He has a full muscle system underneath his skin. The way we did most of it was through shape-driven animations. We broke certain poses and certain expressions down based on different muscle groups. You would have one in this area, one in this area, one in this area, on back around the mouth, and those would all combine to give you these poses. It also mimics a real lion's muscle system, so that as he moves the corner of his mouth, you can see this tension all the way up through the temple in his head. So you see everything move, and that's all just from a very subtle movement on his lip. And that adds a lot of liveliness to the face. Most facial animation is in the subtle movement of the character.
I shall talk with you alone.
His body is done through a combination of both muscles, traditional deformations, and shapes. So this is actually a layering approach where you just continually add levels of detail on top of levels of detail until you get the final fidelity that you're looking for. So at the base level of the character, what you're going to have is a bone structure to get their blocking out and get their overall motion out. This shows the underlying muscles that are going to drive the skin. An animator doesn't think about these muscles. These muscles are just along for the ride. Once this is signed off on and they have the basic motion they want, they can go up to a higher resolution. This resolution actually is driven by the muscles. He's got realistic triceps, biceps. This is usually where the animator's work will stop, once they've gotten it up to this level, and it goes down to the next stage in the pipeline, which is called technical animation. Technical animation is responsible for things like dynamics, hair work, cloth work. So their job at that point is to come in and make that hair alive.
Aslan has 5.2 million hairs on its body right now, and it takes about 10 hours to render a frame.
Welcome, Peter. Welcome, Susan and Lucy.
We had a bunch of pictures, just photographic reference of a lion. I wasn't able to go to the gentle jungle and saw the real lions. They were nice enough to send me a little tuft of hair, which is cool, and my little inspiration. You can see the texture quality of it. Their hair is almost like bristles, you know, almost like a paintbrush. It's not soft and cozy, it's pretty rough.
We all know what hair looks like. We've all seen it all of our lives, and we know when it's good, we know when it's real. And making this come to life on a lion, down to the whiskers, even the whiskers on this lion have to be just the right thickness, just the right length, just the right coarseness.
He not only has incredible fur that you have to deal with, he's got this big mane that moves, not only when he walks, but when the wind blows.
It's one thing to just kind of have a nice, beautiful mane where it looks like he's gone through and, you know, the wind's blowing through it and stuff like that, but we didn't want it to be too perfect. And we took all the different clumping parameters from a real lion and tried to just kind of keep it true to that, keep it true to the chaos that was in the fur.
In the past, it's taken hours and hours to render one single frame. Still takes us hours and hours, but not as many.
I don't think we could have made him using the techniques that we had previously. So it's amazing that we have this in-house programming team with the rendering software and the Voodoo software, and it basically allowed us to get this done.
So I think we've come in the technology that lets us believe that this is real.
That's just to make it look real. The real challenge is the acting. If you don't care about Aslan, you don't care that he's going to go sacrifice himself and die, the scene has no impact, and the movie doesn't work. That's an incredible challenge for visual effects.
Yeah, you got me looking a little teary. Just think about Aslan dying for a moment.
His sorrow, his fright, you know, as he's about to die, and maybe his internal turmoil. All of these things have to be conveyed in looks and eye expressions and facial movements.
If we don't do our job well in visual effects, you don't have that emotion. You don't think about that character. And our challenge has been to really have the audience wrapped into that moment